our next presenter, we are lucky to have a co-presenting. We have Melissa White. She taught K2. She was a K2 librarian, and now she's an instructional coach at DCG. And then we have Heidi Washington, and she is a second grade teacher from DCG as well. So welcome.
Hi. Okay, guys, so we're going to start actually at the agenda because there's 3 different links that might help you during our presentation for you to go to. And so if you go to the agenda, we have 3 different links. We have a link to a resource page for all the different apps that we'll be talking about today. We have a link to our presentation because I know some people like to follow along. And then we're also doing a Today's Meet for you to post comments and questions, anything you want to say to us during the presentation. And one of us will be following that Today's Meet while the other one's talking so we can refer to it if we need to. So if you would like to go to the Today's Meet and join it right now, you could do that because we're going to use it in just a couple of minutes. I'll do that now. Do you want to go to the first slide? And then we're using a lot of examples today, and just so you know, I know Marissa's talked about it a little bit, all the examples you see are either our own children recreating it, or we have parent permission from that. And so our presentation is all about how you can create a tech landscape in your classroom using the universal constructs. And I think Michelle said earlier, and I was nodding my head in the back, that technology has changed a lot. I've been in education for 15 years, and when I think back to my first year teaching, it has changed so much. And just when I was making this presentation, I was thinking about that and how even 5 years ago in my classroom, it was like, oh, here's a cool technology thing over here, but here's the rest of my classroom. And it really took learning about the universal constructs for me to understand how to put technology into the curriculum. And so that's what we're going to show you today. We're going to show you how technology can be fused into what you're doing every day in your classroom. And then a little bit about us. My name's Melissa White. I've been in education this is my 16th year. I was a high school English teacher for 10 years, and then an elementary librarian for 5. And then this is my first year as an instructional coach at South Perry Elementary, which is a kindergarten through 2nd grade building.
And this is my 15th year of teaching. I taught 3rd grade for 4 years and then switched districts to DCG, and I've been in 2nd grade at DCG for the last 11, teaching at the K2 building with Melissa.
Mm-hmm. So. And we co-teach math every day together, so some of the examples that you'll see will be from our classroom there. But the first thing we're going to start with, I believe, is kind of a video where we've come with technology. So 5-6 years ago in DCG, we were just kind of starting to think about technology and where we were, and it looks very different then to now. So this is just a little video kind of showing you the span over the last 5 years and where we've gone.
I saw your picture at the booth, and there's a uniformed man here waiting for you. And you smashed your camera on the wall for the fear and alcohol, and I was willing to take the fall. But you won't see me float, and you know I'll be sinking in. And you won't catch me running, try and catch me jumping. Whoa.
About that video is it shows you how we used to just use the iPads to practice extra math, or use the iPads to maybe, I was in the library, we'd use them to search the online catalog. And then it gets to the point now where we're doing Google Hangouts and the kids are creating their own nonfiction text feature books like Michelle was talking about earlier. And so it's really changed over the course of the 5 years. And a big part of that came from the universal constructs, which is what we're going to talk about next. And when I first heard about the universal constructs, I thought, this is it. I mean, this makes sense to me because I felt like technology was kind of this cool extra thing that we did, and universal constructs kind of makes it a skill. And it really adds purpose to the technology. And so universal constructs are lenses. They're ways to kind of look at your curriculum, take technology, and see how you can teach skills to kids. And so they come from the Iowa Core, and they're kind of like habits of mind. Like, these are things we want kids to be able to do once they leave the classroom. And so the 4 big ones are collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and complex communication. And then there's 2 kind of extra ones that go with it: flexibility and adaptability, productivity and accountability. And you might have heard of these referred to as the 4 C's. And so you can go on to the next one, Heidi. These are all about teaching kids how to think, the universal constructs. Rather than what are my kids going to do today, it kind of can shift your thinking, what are my kids going to learn today? And that's what I really like about them. It's all about kids thinking and learning. And this quote reminds me of it. It says, it's the difference between teaching these kids how to cook versus how to eat. We have to teach them how to create, not just to consume. So rather than just practicing these extra math facts, the kids are now taking the technology and they're creating something. And then we can skip this slide. So we're going to watch a video clip. And what we want you to do is we want you to look for the 4 C's in this video clip. So do you see, because we're going to look at a student, and do you see the student communicating? Do you see the student using critical thinking? Do you see the student being creative or collaborating? Like, do you see, we're going to look for any of those 4 C's in the student's learning. If you'd like to post what you see in the Today's Meet, you can, and we'll refer to that after, or you can just kind of, afterwards, we'll just kind of share what we saw. And so we're going to look at the kid president, and this is where he wants to be an inventor. And we're going to jump ahead to about a minute and where he's talking about this new idea that he has for an invention.
To clean the house, my cat goes crazy. The problem? He hates the vacuum cleaner. I want to solve this problem by making the first vacuum cleaner. To make this happen, I'm going to need some help. Time to meet with big-time inventors. They make crazy stuff here. Hello.
Hi.
I want to invent something.
You want to invent something? All right. First, you're going to need some safety glasses.
Cool.
All right. Let's show you around.
Do you have any corn dogs? How many days would it take to build this?
It takes about 18 days.
It would probably take me a whole year, actually.
You think so?
You know, I think if one of us was to try to build this by ourselves, it probably would take a whole year. We all just do a little piece at a time. You just put your little part on, and then I put my part on, and then together we just build this up together.
Hello?
Hey, where'd you come from? Hello.
I just came from here. How are babies inventing? So I can be an inventor like you?
Certainly. It's all up to you. Anybody can do it. You just have to get a dream, get a goal, and go for it.
What are you inventing?
I'm inventing a vacuum cleaner that does not scare away my cat.
I like that.
Well, it's in my head, but won't come out to be what I want it to be.
Would it be a problem if it was slightly different?
No. Well, my invention is in my head, but I just can't make it real.
Yeah, I know, I understand, but there are plenty of avenues to go to help you out with that. I mean, there's, you know, your schooling that you did, you know, teachers I'm sure that you've met. There's, out on the web, there's a place called Quirky that can also help you get your help that you need.
Thanks for the corn dog, man. Did you have a good day here today?
Yeah.
Cheers.
It was really fun to meet them. I learned that scientists eat corn dogs, and some of them got really cool mustaches. I learned it's okay to fail. If you're afraid to mess something up, well, that's the first lesson of building something. That's what they all told me, bro. Well, the cat vacuum, probably need to go back to the drawing board on that one. Because the cat killed it. Killed it, like totally messed up his head. Totally okay though. It's okay to make mistakes. Not okay to stop. Gotta keep correcting. Gotta keep dancing. What invention will you make that will change the world? Seeing jet engines is always something that I wanted to do. So thanks to everybody at GE for letting me visit. To see more of the cool stuff that they're doing, click here.
Okay, so before we get to, we can switch over to the today's meet and just kind of see what you guys put. But when I watch that, I think, this is how I want all of the kids in my classroom to question things and think. And like he said so many things that I agree with in that clip. He said, it's okay to make mistakes. And, you know, he was talking to other people and talking through his ideas. And I just love it when the guy says, well, is it okay if it doesn't look exactly like you wanted it to? And he goes, yeah, I think that would be okay. And so we asked you to look through a couple different things. And I agree he uses creativity to help solve his problem of his cat cleaner. And then he found experts to ask. And I like this one because we can't all fly out to Durham, North Carolina and go talk to GE, but we could find experts through Twitter or through Google Hangouts. And he's collaborating with the experts, talking through things. And I like how they took him seriously. I really like that about in the clip. He's thinking critically about what he needs to know to be able to create the vacuum cleaner. And he even drew out his plans and had this whole drawing board that he had come up with. He was communicating by asking the experts, and he's solving the problem by going out there and trying to come up with it. So I wanted to share that clip with you because I think it really embodies the universal constructs and kind of shows what kids can do if you just give them an idea and give them the time to connect with other people and draw out their ideas, and they can learn for themselves that it's okay to fail. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through those 4 C's, and we're going to talk to you about a couple things that we've done either in our own classroom, but Heidi and I also taught a class last summer. We opened it up to kids in Grimes and just said we're going to do a technology class this summer where kids can come in and be creative and collaborate and communicate, and we had about 40 kids come over the course of 3 days, and we had a really good time. So you'll see some of their work on here too. And so we're going to start with how can kids be creative in the classroom. And what I really like about when kids are being creative is that they're creating something new. It's often open-ended, and they're able to exchange ideas.
Okay. So here's where we start with, you've already heard about ChatterPix this morning. We've done a few things with ChatterPix in my classroom. The very first thing I did this year was one of the beginning of the year school activities obviously is to get to know your kids and for them to get to know each other. And with us being in a district where they might only know 1 or 2 other kids in the class, I wanted to find a way to introduce them to the iPads, give them some structure, but also give them an activity to do. So their job was to get on ChatterPix and say 3 things about themselves, and then we shared them out. So they took a selfie, which, you know, as you all know, they love to take selfies, as many as possible. And took a selfie, decorated themselves, and then they said 3 things that they thought the rest of the class should know. I've also done it with math where they had to explain, 5 + 2 = 7. Why is that? Also, I've done it with vocabulary words where I teach 6 vocabulary words a week, and they had to write a sentence with the word in it, and then they had to say the sentences through ChatterPix. Keep in mind, ChatterPix is only 30 seconds long, and there are a few kids that don't always make the 6 sentences in 30 seconds. And I just tell my kids that's okay as long as I can see them in writing, because some of them feel like they have to talk really, really fast to get it all in 30 seconds, and if they don't, that's okay. Book reviews. We've done book reviews with ChatterPix, and then this one, if you want to play this quick, this is the perspective from the dog.
So I have to tell you, I was at the grocery store one day, and I received this on my phone from my son.
Food, please. Dog food. Yum, yum. Dog food, please. Yum, yum.
I have a giant schnauzer. I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but she's big, hairy face, big, hairy beard. And so, anyway, he was able to talk from the perspective of the dog there.
Yep. This is an app that I love, 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 love. And it is a paid app if you don't have it, but our district was, I think we caught it on a free day. Like it was free one day, didn't we, with the draw and tell, or did we pay?
No, we paid.
But it is a fantastic app. It's called Draw and Tell, and it basically gives you a bunch of backgrounds that you can use, and then there's all these little pictures or stickers, they're called, that you can use. You can write on it. You can take pictures and insert the picture. You can color on it. I've used it for kids have created storybooks, done pre-writing for their stories, math equations. You can import a picture, tell information. This one, for this particular assignment of this one, my students we were talking about ways to make 10 and the addition strategy make 10. So what they had to do was go and create at least 3 slides that showed how they could make 10. And this is what my little friend came up with.
4 cheeseburgers plus 6 kiwis equals 10. 5 cows plus 5 cheeseburgers equals 10. 1 squirrel plus 9 mustaches equals 10.
So there is a wide range of stickers on this app. I mean, you can get just about everything, and they absolutely love the stickers. And as you can see in the very first slide, he was moving them. You can move the things while you're recording. So that's another way to have the kids express their thinking through. But the draw and tell, I mean, we've used it for tons and tons and tons of different things.
It's the one app that's used by first and second grade in our building. And the nice thing is when you have little kiddos, it automatically saves their work no matter what, which is good and bad because then you've got like 30 pictures saved after one use. But the good thing is they won't lose their work. And they can create multiple pages and easily put them together to make a book.
Yeah,
which is nice.
You create the individual pages and then you just drag them on top of each other. Everything's drag and drop. And then you can also export it to your camera roll, which is how I have a YouTube page if you're interested in looking at some of the things I've done with my class. But you can drag them in to your photos, and then I put them all on my YouTube page for parents. I just create playlists because it's so much easier than sending individual links to each individual parent. So I just make a playlist on my YouTube page, and then the parents can go in and watch what their kids have done. So this one is super fun. I don't know if you've ever used Toontastic. It is a free app. It is great for talking about the writing process. It is super awesome for creativity, for plot, for storytelling. When you go into it, the first thing you're going to see is called the story arc, and it sort of gives you the different writing process things in here. And then the kids can go in and, again, use the stickers, choose the backgrounds, write their own story. The first time I did this year was I gave the kids, I said, you're all going to write a story about pirates. And I printed off the backgrounds and I printed off the toys, they call them, so that they had something to kind of go off of and kind of pre-write their story. And then the next time we did it, I said, okay, now that you've experienced Toontastic, you can choose to write about whatever you want. And I had some fantastic. One kid wrote going on fire, and the thing about this is kind of cool is they have what's called special effects. So he pulled out the fire special effect, and as he was telling his story, he hit the fire and the house went on fire, and here comes the firemen, and they're they have a little special effects with the water, and they sprayed the water on the fire, and it's just a really neat app to use for storytelling. You want to go ahead and play a little bit of that?
Yeah, this is my son, so I warn you, this
was done by a 6-year-old. So I mean, you can do this from kindergarten all the way up through.
Just play the first little bit of it.
Caroline, Emma, and little teeny tiny Dalton. And then they saw something, and then came out. It was Big Puffer.
And he's changing the size of that as he's talking.
Okay. And so the nice thing is sometimes when I would use this, because I had limited time with them in the library, I would say you're just creating the opening slide and that's it. So you don't have to take them through that whole story arc. They can just start with that first slide and do that first one only. And so you don't have to create the whole story. And there's a lot of different choices they have to make as a writer in this. And I like that. And I like that they can use their voice to tell the story.
Yep, and they can make the icons bigger. They can make them smaller. I mean, it's pretty loose as far as like what it allows them to do.
And it asks for the mood, so that's why there was that kind of creepy music in the beginning. So, what kind of mood do you want your story to be? And that's some higher level thinking for the little kiddos to think about, what is the mood of my story? I mean, that was something at the secondary level those kids struggle with. So that's why I really like this app.
Oh, we did. Okay, so this was something I have not done with my second graders yet. I tried it last year and had some things disappear, so we just stopped. But We did do this with our summer class, and we challenged the kids to come up with a short story, just something really small. They had to take, I don't know if anybody's ever used stop motion before, but you use different props and you take a lot of pictures and then you tell the story over top of the pictures. So they really have to think, small concept, how can I tell my story in, 100 pictures? And this little girl she's a 4th grader this year. And she was in our summer class, and like I said, got permission from her parents, and her mom and dad were just awesome about, use her stuff. And this is what she came up with.
Matt was climbing a shelf. Oh no, he slipped and fell. He tried to climb back up, but was hanging by one arm. His twin brother came along and climbed the shelf to help him. The end.
So they just used the stuff that we had available in the library where we were doing our class, but you could have, last year I had students, wanting to tell a story about their favorite football team, so they brought in a bunch of football props, or I think we had My Little Ponies for one of them, and they just have to, think small, short story, tell it fast, and stop motion, they really love, the kids really love stop motion. I even had parents say, my kid was using this at home, this is so great, so.
My kids use it with their Legos a lot.
Yes.
Because of time, we're just going to kind of not stop and talk about this one, but Sock Puppets app is a really good one. We use it to help the kids think about dialogue in their writing, because you have the 2 different people talking, and it's an exchange of ideas and language, and it's very kid-friendly. They can pick different sock puppets to use, and they can create a background, and then they record the voices, and they can make them as high-pitched as they want, and so it can get kind of hard to listen to.
Yep, we used it too to teach them to add conversation to their writing.
Okay, so we're going to jump over to communication. And with communication, I really like it because it's teaching kids to have meaningful interactions, whether with each other or with people outside of the classroom.
So you're all communicating now via Today's Meet. I've used Today's Meet with my 2nd graders, and they absolutely love it. The one thing we have done is we've been working on long and short vowels, and last week we happened to be focusing on long I, short I, so I had them do a word hunt in their books. And then they posted the words on Today's Meet. So they would write S for hit, so short vowel hit or something like that. And we have a plan to communicate very similarly with another classroom in our building, both of us being on Today's Meet at the same time. So I'm actually excited to see how that goes. Also, communication with Twitter is a great place to go to get information from other teachers. I actually participated in my first chat the other night, and it was very informative. Google Hangouts. Have anybody done a Google Hangout before? They're amazing. This one happens to be our principal. She was building a school in, where was she?
The Dominican Republic.
The Dominican Republic, and she got to Google Hangout with all the 2nd graders, and we got to talk to kids from there, and that was kind of cool. And then this is something I just started. My class is going on a U.S. and World book tour, and this is done in Google Slides. I have the link open to the public, and we're getting classes, people, families from all around the world have actually created a slide in my little thing here, so that my kids are seeing where all the people are and what their favorite books are, and I'm anxious to go back and start talking to them about what others are reading, and maybe grab some of those books that we haven't read and read to the class. So you can do it that way. Telugu Me, has anybody used Telugu Me before? It's very similar to ChatterPix, except this time the kids are creating an avatar, and the avatar will actually move with your voice fluctuation. So if you're, really excited, you're going to get lots of body movement, and if you kind of talk like this, they don't move very much at all. So the kids really like to use the Telugu Me to share ideas. We've used them to share their insect reports before. Book reviews, they can change the background, change the avatar, change the hair color, all that good stuff.
And the nice thing is if you are doing like an insect report, they can put a picture of the insect as the background picture, which is nice. Or if they're doing a book review, they can put a picture of the book as the background. Yep. Okay, we're going to move on to collaboration, and this is where you can work with others to achieve a common goal and have positive and productive group interactions with the kiddos in your room.
Okay, so this summer we used, if you have iMovie on your iPads and you have kids that like to collaborate and create, we did iMovie trailers, and they had to come up with an idea and create an iMovie trailer. And it's actually really easy to use because iMovie has it all laid out for them. So all they have to do is go in and do the filming and input the stuff in through the template. And then we've used iMovies too for presentations. I've done a weather report or news report, so to speak, with my class as well. Pictures, music, videos, all that kind of. iMovie is really easy to use on an iPad. You just drag and drop and stick it in there.
And that was probably the favorite thing that the kids did this summer.
Yeah, they
was
really
creating
liked.
their own movie trailers.
Yep, and if you want to see them, you can head over to my YouTube page. We've got them all posted on there. So, Google Hangouts. We just talked a little bit about that, but this one we happened to do across district. So what we did was we read a story together. I read part of the story, and the other teacher, librarian at Della Center, read part of the story. This was a 5th grade class, and then our kids had to. We read the story Boy Plus Bot, and then they got to meet another 5th grader. So my 2nd graders met a 5th grader, and they introduced themselves and said 2 things they liked. And then my student went back, they wrote all that down, went back to their seat and drew a robot based on what the other kids liked. So like one kid said he liked bacon. Well, I had Minecraft and bacon. So one of the kids drew a Minecraft-looking robot with a bacon dispenser. So they had to kind of create their robot based on what the other person liked. So here's just a little clip.
I think we might skip that.
Okay, so if you want to see it, you can definitely go in and watch the clip.
A cool thing to add about this is we were sharing this at ITEC a couple weeks ago about this Google Hangout that we did, and a person in the audience knew the author of Boy Plus Bot, tweeted out to her and said, I'm sitting at ITEC in Iowa learning about this teacher who used Boy Plus Bot, and then she tweeted back, and now we're doing a Google Hangout with her soon. So that's just kind of a neat way to connect with other people, and it came out of this assignment. Okay, so our last one is critical thinking, and this is where you're teaching kids to be purposeful in their questions, to reflect over what they're doing, collect evidence, and analyze information. And one of the apps that goes with this is called Tell About This. There's 2 different ones. There's Tell About This and Write About This. And in the free version, you're limited to 1 picture per category. But if you do the paid version, you can upload your own pictures, or there's a lot more. But the essence of Tell About This is it gives the kids a picture with a question. So this one says, why do you think the people are wearing these suits? And so the kid hits the record button and can record their response to it. Write About This is exactly the same, except instead of telling their answer, they can type and write about their answer. It's a pretty easy to use app, and I like that there's a free version you can try to see if you like it, and then if you want to buy the paid version. But I've just used the free version, and it was fine. There's lots of different categories, and I really like the power of pictures for little kids. Okay, so Wonderopolis. Wonderopolis is hands down my favorite website out there. I like everything about it, and it just keeps getting better and better. And Wonderopolis has an app, but they also have a website too, and I actually like the full website better than the app because you can navigate it a little bit better. But the premise of Wonderopolis is they have a wonder of the day, and they come out with a new one every day, and every wonder is set up the same way. So when you click on the wonder of the day, it'll take you to a short article that the kids can listen to, or they can read it.
There is a listen button, which is why I like it, because it's a little bit hard for 2nd graders to read, but if you click the listen button, they don't have to read it. They can just listen to it being read to them.
Yeah, and you can do it a whole class. And then it'll have vocabulary words off to the side. It'll have a very short video clip that goes with the wonder. And then it'll have either some questions at the end or ways you can connect with other people about the wonder. And there are so many different ideas. So I can see it being used a couple different ways. Like in our school, some teachers do Wonder Wednesdays, and they start their day off with a Wonderopolis wonder, either connected to what they're doing in the classroom, or they'll just pick that current wonder of the day. But I also, when I was working as a librarian, I would use it as my part of the research, where the kids could find a wonder and something that they're interested in, and then they all kind of filled out the same little note-taking sheet, and they shared with the class the wonder that they learned about. And I like that it gives them choice. Go ahead on this one. Okay, so Shadow Puppets is something else that we use this summer, and it's a nice way for kids to share a story using pictures and voice. And so we took the kids on a nature walk, which was actually really scary with the iPads taking them outside. And But we felt confident that with 2 of us and 12 kids and lots of talk ahead of time about 2 hands on the iPad, that it was going to be okay, and it was totally fine. And we told them just to go outside and take pictures of things they were interested in. And then we talked about perspective, like getting really close up and really far away. And it was a really neat thing. So we just went outside and had them take pictures walking around. And then they came in and they just uploaded those pictures to Shadow Puppets and recorded their voice over the top. And then we can skip the last thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? We just threw a lot of apps at you and a lot of information. And a lot of this presentation will be available later. So I know that we skipped over a couple student examples. You can always go back later and look at those examples if you need to. Yep. Yes?
Interested in the class YouTube channel. So do you go around to the camera roll of each of the devices and upload it?
Actually, what they do is they airdrop it. They airdrop their whatever they've done to me to my iPad, and then I just have the YouTube channel connected to my iPad so that they don't have any access to that. So yeah, and the parents actually have had a lot of good response from parents. This is the first year. Well, I started using it towards the end of last year, but
and you can mark the video private so that it's not it's not out there.
So not everybody can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So any other questions? Okay. And that's all we have for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to have a short 5-minute break, and up next we have Angela Miller from South Union Elementary in Des Moines.